All right, can I be heard? I think I can. And with that, let me just do this. Set up my area, and we're gonna talk dual box. And with that, I say good evening to everyone. Let me put on my light here, just getting everything kind of set up. But is what's going? Might just be the light hitting the camera. I'm not sure, but let me just angle my. All right. And that. Good evening, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to another live weather discussion. A little bit more on time this week, so I'm gonna try to stick myself to that word. So, in tonight's discussion, we're going to be talking about upcoming system that's going to impact our weekend and maybe into the early week. The dynamics behind that, what you can expect, and Saturday could be a little dicey in that regard. We'll talk about that, and then we will look forward to the rest of the weekend. It looks fairly nice for the most part. Temperatures around where we should be, seasonal, average, but the key is going to be lower humidity. Instead of dew points being more in the 65, 70 range, they'll be more in the lower 60s, if not a little bit lower in some locations if you are fortunate. So, with that said, let's talk about our weather here. Now I'm going to go full on the second screen. And this is the current picture right now with our radar. Nothing. Nothing in terms of anything in the state. There have been thunderstorms up in PA and New York State throughout the course of the afternoon. There were some severe thunderstorm warnings earlier on. Some wind damage reports in the Catskills. There's some hail reported along I-90 between Albany and Utica. But even then, that's just far away from us. We've been really, really benefiting off this high pressure system that has been just dominating the weather patterns for the better part of the entire work week. I mean, goodness, it has been very, very nice in terms of our weather conditions. Yes, a little bit on the toasty side coming up, especially the next 2 days. But even then, like this week's been about as advertised in terms of how tame the weather's been. Talking our current situation with everything across the nation right now, there are some severe thunderstorms up in northern Kansas, a string of storms here along a cold front that is basically from I want to say eastern Nebraska down through the heart of Kansas and back down to the Oklahoma Panhandle, the Texas Panhandle. And I will say this is going to be our system right here. And there are some warnings up in South Dakota as well. So it's going to be this collective system that is going to impact our weather in the coming days. Let's talk about why that is. And first things first, I want to give a quick note before we talk about all this weather here. We have Ernesto out in the Atlantic right now. Let me pull up the satellite feature and I will get in on Ernesto here. There's our Hurricane Ernesto. And I might have to go to the infrared. I could probably put this into 3D so we can follow this. But here's Ernesto. As of the time of this advisory, at 5 o'clock, it had 75-mile-per-hour winds. It's a Cat 1, and it's moving northwest. So that is our situation out in the Atlantic. Why so? Oh, why is it? I don't mean to do 250. I'm sorry. Let's do 14 frames. There's Ernesto. There's our problem of a storm. How this is going to be a problem for us. It's going to miss us by a good 500, 600 miles here. That's good. But the problem becomes the proximity of this is going to be close enough to our areas along the coast. Worcester County, I'm talking to you, Ocean City. If you're heading down to the beach, any last second summer vacation plans, this will be problematic because if you are brave enough to go in the water, despite you might having to dodge thunderstorms during the weekend, Sunday is going to be a problematic day in terms of surf and rip currents due to the proximity of the system. So I just want you to know ahead. Surf is going to be rougher and the rip current risk will be elevated due to the impact of Ernesto, even though it's about 500, 600 miles away from our coastline. So just thought I'd point that out. Let's talk about, real quickly, our setup here. And for that, I'm going to have to let me make sure I got the right one. And I'm going to close this while I'm at it. All right. There. And I can just pull this in, actually. We'll do our... Just trying to make sure everything was there. All right, let's do this. And let's talk about the impacts from said system. So I'm going to go 500 might be good. Spaghetti might. Look at this overview. There's a spaghetti 500 millibar height. That might work. No. 58. I'm just trying to find the product that I had earlier just to explain some of this. There we go. So this is basically what this is. It's the spaghetti plot of the 500 millibar air right here. That's the wrong one. It's right here. So here's our 500 millibar, and this is the spaghetti This is the spaghetti plot. They got negative 15 Celsius, negative 20, and negative 25. And I think the negative 25 outlines pretty well where our jet stream is going to take shape here. So get that down here. What are you doing? Or is it negative 20? Maybe negative 20. Negative 25. Was it negative 25? Let me go back a few. H5 5820. Oh, this is the 500 millibar 5820 spaghetti plot. So this is 5820. And then just to get perspective here, got 5700. And that's going to be right here. Got our 5580. And that's kind of getting up there, 5480 as well. So I'm going to get this back down to our 5820 because I think this outlines everything pretty well. So here is where basically we are currently. We have upper level troughing off the coast. But we do have this ridge that's still holding strong. This troughing is why there's been thunderstorms in PA and New York for much of the afternoon. So the jet stream right now is essentially right over us, especially in our western areas. What this is going to do, however, it's going to start moving east. We'll be in a ridge for Friday and a good chunk of Friday as well. We will Thursday and Friday. We will have to worry about our temperatures going up a little bit, and humidity will also go up. We'll be getting in a lot more of the warmer air from the south, and with that, the humidity as well. The Gulf, the Atlantic, it's going to be an issue in terms of humidity at least. Temperatures are going to be around the same, upper 80s, near 90, if not reaching 90 in a couple areas, especially in our urban zones. But this is going to be the culprit for that. What's going to be the culprit for the thunderstorms here is this deep trough that is going to really pass over us here. I mean, I can go back. Here's Saturday. And I can go to, what is this, 2100, 1600. This is 2 o'clock Saturday. And that's 16. No, that's 4. I'm sorry, that's 4. I'm not doing my math right. Converting this to Eastern time, this would be 4 o'clock Saturday. You could see the troughing that is taking place across the Mid-Atlantic and the Ohio Valley and getting into the Great Lakes. This is going to open up the activity for thunderstorms here. I'm going to advance this along. So that was 4 o'clock. Now we're at 8. Or 7, I should say. I'm sorry. This is 7 o'clock. And this is going to be the problem. This troughing will lead to scattered thunderstorm activity with that low pressure system that's going to move right along. And what that will also do is create a more elevated severe weather threat as well. And I'll display that in a second. I shouldn't say more elevated, but a higher risk of at least seeing some form of severe weather. I'm not saying the severity is going to be elevated. It's just the chances that we do see some severe weather will be elevated on Saturday as compared to Sunday. Here is 1 a.m. Sunday morning. I mean, it's right over us. We'll probably not have storms due to as many storms, if many at all, because of the loss of the convective heating of the day by that point. But this is going to stick around, and it's going to become a problem for Sunday as well, based on what it's looking like on the models and how slow this low pressure and cold front is progressing. But that deep trough is still there. And let me just do a refresh as well, just to make sure I got the latest data in. But that's essentially all I'm looking at here. Looking at previous model runs. And it's been pointing towards the same thing as well with this troughing. And this, what was this? This was yesterday. It was showing some troughing. But today it's showing a lot more in terms of the intensity per se of the trough that could be taking place. Also, I think some of these model runs may have not included the time frame that we're looking at, but let me just make sure if that might be the case, because this thing is finicky. Well, it's been more consistent on the deep troughing actually, so that's just me not looking at that there. Forgive me for that, but yes, you get the idea. This is going to be a problem in terms of our weather patterns. The jet stream's always a tattletale sign of what's to come in terms of weather. You want to look at some things. You want to look at our current weather patterns. You look at the jet stream. You look at satellite. All these different things that are coming up. I wonder, there's a day 3, but that would be Saturday. Hold up. I'm going to actually have to look at this inside our radar system here. So give me a second. I'm going to go next rad, back to our current view, and let's talk brass about potential severe weather outlooks already in play. All right. I think they might have us in just general thunderstorm risks. I'm not sure. Yeah. Right now, the SPC has us in a general thunderstorm risk, the marginal being more or less across the Ohio River Valley. That may get upgraded and may get expanded at some point down the line as we head towards Saturday. So later in the week, I wouldn't be surprised if the SPC tomorrow kind of elevates some of the risk and some of the confidence in it, but we'll have to wait and see. It's a little far out to say, but it is something we'll have to definitely watch. Looking nationwide here, Midwest is the problem child today. Tomorrow, that'll shift into the Mississippi River Valley, Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, getting into the Chicagoland, and then that's actually Friday. I'm sorry, this is Friday. So this is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I wouldn't be surprised if they issue new ones tonight. Let's talk day 4. Nothing yet. So SPC's already been concerned about Friday's threat, but Saturday is up in the air. I can't rule out thunderstorm activity leading to such problems with severe weather. I'm gonna look at a couple things here with you for the first time here, and as I'm getting some of the data, look at. I want to do. Let's do our cape and shear here. And I know this is gonna probably end up just short of us here in terms of trying to get the animation to go into our time frame for severe weather. But you could see, at least in some way, shape, or form, some of that energy is sticking around, and that's going to be a problem in terms of thunderstorm activity, because you're going to need that energy to really help develop severe weather. I'm going to look at the 1000. It's loading everything. Yeah. So there is some reason to be concerned. Let's look at our, what is this going to be? 1,000 in effective bulk, I believe. Let me make sure. This is our 1,000 joules per kilogram and probability. Okay. Okay. And then I'm looking at all this data here with you, so forgive me here. We're going to look at, let's do effective bulk here. I don't know if I did this already, but 1,000 in effective bulk. There's some, but honestly could be more. I'll have to watch for that. Let's look at a couple other things here. No STPs, supercell. I'll look at our supercell parameters here, just to make sure I'm not missing anything too much. Not too impressive on the supercell parameters. As I said, the severe weather threat is up in the air. There's a lot of dynamics that have to come together still if we're going to have a problem with severe weather. So I take that with a grain of salt here in terms of in terms of any severe weather that we could see. Although I've been looking at some runs here, and I've been looking at what the Weather Service has also been saying. The confidence or in the likelihood of seeing some form of severe weather is increasing to some degree, at least. So I really want you to be cautious about that for Saturday. I really do, because if we do have severe weather, gusty winds will obviously be a main threat, as with all of our garden variety severe thunderstorms, and hail up to 1 inch if we do get that. If nothing else, torrential rain, and that could lead to flooding, and that's been another issue. Just flooding, heavy rainfall, that's a problem child within itself. With the remnants of Debbie late last week, that was a problem. And we want the rain, but we don't want it in a giant bulk in terms of what we get. Although I will mention, I think that when the drought monitor drops tomorrow, the new one, I think we will at least in some way, shape, or form be in a better position. I think this extreme drought will likely go down, considering everything. It will likely go down, at least in some real estate. How much, I don't know. Also, I think the metro will be more improved. I think our central tier of counties are going to be more improved. Now, the Eastern Shore, I have my doubts simply because we didn't get a whole lot of rain on the Eastern Shore with the remnants of Debbie, so we'll have to wait and see. But I think in some fashion, we will have a better outlook once we get this new drought monitor in tomorrow. How much is the question? I want to also look at our rainfall here. So I'm going to look at, let's look at our official records here. What was the high today at Thurgood? At Thurgood, it was 86.64. I'll zoom in so you can see this a little bit better. 86, 64, they're good. The high was just before 4 o'clock. And I want you to look at our rainfall. It's been ridiculous for the month of August. I mean, look at this. 5.16 inches of rain. When we talked last week during the weekly weather, it was 4.14. So we already picked up another inch with the remnant of Debbie that came through. Just to really get perspective here, for an average August, 4.09 is the benchmark. It's where we should be. We're already an inch plus over that for the entire month, and we're just halfway through. Absolute insanity. We're running 3 inches above where we should be for the month. We'll run at least an inch plus above, depending on what rain we get for the remainder of the month, the last 17 days or so. It's madness. It is madness in terms of our rainfall, and it has helped in terms of trying to preserve the summer, in terms of just getting some rainfall in, especially in some of these western areas. Although I will say this, it's been an uphill battle for a lot of us the last 3 months or so, just getting rainfall in. Let's check Hagerstown, because that's going to be interesting. 4.45. I want to look at this real quick for Hagerstown. Let's do Baltimore, Washington, climate and past weather. And we will do we don't have that for how about let's try why it doesn't have Hagerstown, I don't know, but let's try this actually. Monthly summarized data, actually. Climate daily, monthly normals in terms of precipitation. And we're gonna do Hagerstown area. Monthly, and we're gonna go and launch it. So to give an idea, August, our average at Hagerstown Regional is 2.9, and I'll zoom in a little tighter so you can see this a little bit better. And let me just go in there. In August, 2.9, and we're already at 4.45 for the entire month, which has really helped preserve the summer out there, despite some of the drought issues out west that have been well noted. And for the year, they're in a 2-inch surplus. So that just says a lot about the amount of rainfall within the last 2 weeks. And to be fair, Western Maryland dealt with a lot of the rainfall, a lot of the brunt of that rainfall and storm activity with the remnants of Debbie. So to me, not surprising. And it was 83.60 today. Let me check Salisbury. I'm a little intrigued. Around average, I mean, we're running almost between 2/3 and 3/4 below. 2/3 and 3/4 of an inch below where we should be for the year. But right around average, I mean, this summer, we're running 2 inches below where we should be. For the month, 112, normal's 2.61. So we are running behind in that department, and that's a little concerning. This time last year, we had about 1.67, so we were running about an inch below where we should have been this time last year. So there's that. And I'm assuming temperatures, summaries, all that will come out in about an hour, 90 minutes or so. So I'll keep on the lookout for those, and that's what I use for the maps and graphics. But that's for tomorrow as well. I just look at those just to give an idea of what the state was like during the day. So, pardon me. That's the main rundown, and that's everything technical with this. Let's talk in terms of the general aspect, what to expect. So, I got this zoomed in on the Mid Atlantic here, and this is gonna be. I gotta push this back. I'm sorry. So, there we go. This is heading into Saturday. This is Friday evening. Storms out west will probably be a better possibility, especially west of 81, west of US 15, as this cold front does approach. So, along the Allegheny front, the Blue Ridge, Allenor Mountainous areas, that could be something that would be problematic and that you need to watch out for. As we head into Saturday, scattered activity, scattered storms are possible, likely for some of us as well. Here's Ernesto off the bottom right corner of your screen here. That's going to provide the rip current threat and the rough surf to the Atlantic coastline out there in Worcester County. Sunday, we'll likely have to deal with more scattered activity again, as this low just won't seem to go away for a while before it rides up that trough in the jet stream, moves northeast, and starts getting out of our hair probably Monday evening at this point. The GFS, what the National Weather Service has been noting, or wording I should say, is that by Monday a lot of this should be out. I will say this, however, GFS has been really stubborn in terms of trying to keep some precipitation around, scattered thunderstorms and whatnot, even into the later portions of Monday. As we get into Tuesday, however, we finally start to settle off, thank goodness. But also what I think this might be is some clutter. Sometimes the GFS does that, so we'll have to monitor how that changes, and I'll look at the models again tomorrow, of course, before I do the weather tapings and all that stuff. But just keep in mind, this may be a 72-hour type of situation where we have to center our plans around trying to avoid showers and thunderstorms Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So, yeah, that is a little mentally fatiguing, but it's something that, of course, we have to plan around. But there is good news. Notice we have a big break on the back end of this system, and that's going to be at least through the end of the work week that's coming up. So once we get past this cluster, we're going to be in a better position. Temperatures around average, seasonal, but humidity will be lower. That is key. That will help make things a little bit more bearable heading into the rest of the work week ahead. So there is that, and we may have to deal with another system next weekend. We might just get into a pattern here where the weekends are going to be a little soggy for a little bit here. So there is that. Anything else I could think of right now? Let me pull back our radar up here. I don't think so. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about in terms of what's been going on. So that is welcome news in that regard. So I can finally get done with everything here. So not much in the way of anything to think about, and my frames have been a little problematic. I'm looking to get a computer here within the near future, a computer that's more capable of doing some streaming, but we'll have to wait and see on that. We got a lot of stuff to figure out, but that is the gist of things, as everything for right now. So with that said, I'm going to let you go. We will talk tomorrow about all of this stuff. Hopefully have new information. Hopefully have an idea of what to expect. And then from there, we can discuss, at least to some finality or certainty, what the weekend will be like and what we can expect. So, with that said, I'm Jay Mitchell from 4NOWX. Enjoy your evening, and we'll talk tomorrow, or technically Friday, but I'll tape tomorrow. We will talk Friday, and until next week, be safe, be well. Enjoy your weekend.